see you.
Avatar: Fire and Ash is now streaming on Disney+. It's the film critics are calling the best Avatar yet.
Yeah! Go, 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 go!
A true epic and completely jaw-dropping.
This is the only pure thing in this world.
Return to Pandora on Disney+.
It will be an adventure for the whole family.
And watch the Oscar-winning phenomenon at home.
This is sick!
Avatar: Fire and Ash, now streaming on Disney+. Rated PG-13.
LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't predict the future, but it can help you feel confident about future hires. Because Hiring Pro combines real-time insights and candidate data from the LinkedIn network with the criteria you've set for your role to deliver you a list of top-fit candidates. Businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Hello and welcome to Allegedly Astrology. Each week we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history. Today marks the beginning of Elisa's absence for a few months because she is on maternity leave.
Yay.
She had 2 Gemini twins during Gemini season, which we love. Ooh, oh my God, that's so Gemini.
Right.
Wow, they are so
cute.
What are their signs again?
They're Gemini sun and moon and Leo risings.
Psychopaths.
I'm a really big fan of that sun and rising combo. I don't know. Me, them, Mary Kate and Ashley.
Well, I love a Leo rising. Like, I just feel like nothing could bring them down, you know? So, continue on, Dana.
Oh, right. So thanks so much to everyone for listening to our show. If you want to support us, you can leave us a 5-star review and subscribe wherever you listen to our podcasts.
It really does help. Like, this is how we beat the algorithm, is by having people share our episodes, like them. I would say even comment if you don't like them, because I think it will boost the algorithm.
Right,
so
true. Good point.
Help us.
It's Gemini season. We welcome all feedback.
All feedback.
There is no such thing as bad publicity.
That is true. Taylor Swift said that once. And if you do leave us a review and you show us, like screenshot it, send us a DM, we'll make you a custom meme of your big 3 and we send you a quick write-up about it. So you get something in return.
We also have a very cool and exclusive Patreon. So if you want more awesome astrology content, join us at patreon.com/allegedlyastrology.
And right now it is paused because Dana and I are just 2 girls in this world. Like, you know, we can't do everything. So it is paused for the summer. We're taking a summer break. But what that means is you could still pay $5 to join. And then you have access to, I think we have like 200 and something like episodes up there at this point. So it is a free for all in there.
Right.
You just pay once and then you have access to it basically all summer.
It's really a huge deal. We're really being very generous with this.
It is true. This is our gift to all of you. And also make sure that you follow us. We're Allegedly Astrology on Instagram and TikTok. We're posting a lot of clips out there. And also follow us on YouTube and Allegedly Astro on Twitter. We haven't really been posting much there though these days. And you could visit us at allegedlyastrology.com to learn more about us and the show.
You can also book a reading with me at astrologyreadingsbydana@gmail.com. And that email is linked in the show notes. I'm doing a few new things for readings. Also, if you have any sort of requests, you can email them. If I haven't gotten to you yet, please know that you're in line and I value your email and we will get to you as soon as we can. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back into client work.
She's back. Her hip is healing. She's ready to talk to people.
37-year-old who broke her hip.
So 37-year-old who broke her hip. What are we talking about today?
One of my favorite people ever, Lena Dunham, someone who I remember when we first started the podcast, they I think it was Patrick Watson or maybe it was Chris Brennan. Someone asked on Twitter, whose birth chart would you most want? Because they were trying to populate Astro database, I think. And I commented Lena Dunham and Kat Marnell, and I don't think we have either of them yet. So it seems like I'm also last in line.
Fun fact, I literally yesterday started to listen to How to Murder Your Life again.
Perfect.
I listen to it twice a year just to set a baseline for what my life could be, you know, if I'm not careful. Yeah. So let's get into Lena. Lena Dunham is an American writer, director, actress, and producer. She's the creator, writer, and star of the television series GURLS, which was on HBO. She's received several Emmy Award nominations and 2 Golden Globe Awards. She's been included in the annual Time 100 list of the most influential people in the world. And she had a subscription online newsletter, Lenny Letter. She has had podcasts. She wrote 2 memoirs. She dated Jack Antonoff. She had Taylor Swift as a bridesmaid in her wedding. And overall, throughout her career so far, she's attracted a ton of controversy, praise, and criticism. So we're going to get a bit more into her and her astrology and try and suss out why. Dana, what makes you like Lena so much, or at least be into her chart?
I do like her so much. I'm actually more into her than I am into her chart, which is usually not always the way it goes. I mean, I am into her chart. I don't have all the information, so I can't, like go into a game of operator or operation. But I mean, she's so funny. Will say anything. I also like that she looking back, she was so unfairly scrutinized. But like, I love that in a time when sort of Instagram was getting so big that she was like, make the clothes fit me worse so I look insane on the show. I want it to be like how awkward this girl is. Like she's not so precious about really anything, but also like her image. She's really willing to sort of put things out there for the sake of like, and I don't think it's like a humiliation ritual, although I've heard people suggest maybe it is as much. I think she's willing to do things because she wants the art to be a certain way. And so she's someone who will offer themselves up to do it, sort of thing. Yeah. And she's so funny. And she gets to like the area of where something is so funny and sensitive.
Yes. I definitely think I watched GURLS before moving to New York because I feel like that is sort of like rite of passage, especially because they all lived in Greenpoint, which is where I live now. And I feel like the first episode, honestly, is so funny. Specifically, Shoshana is so funny. I just think it's so well written. And Lena was like actually very cute. Like watching it back, I was like, oh, she was like such a cute, like little like New York, like hipster girl.
Totally.
And everyone in the moment was like, oh, she's like, her like boobs look like 2 beagle heads or whatever. And everybody was like being so weird to her.
People are sick.
I know. So let's get into her early life. Lena was born in and grew up in New York City. Her father, both of her parents are artists. Her father, Carol Dunham, is a painter. Her mother, Lori Simmons, is an artist and photographer. So she is like a Nepo baby for sure. And she has a younger sibling named Cyrus. In 7th grade, she transferred schools and met her bestie and future GURLS co-star, Jemima Kirk. So, Dana, what is Lena's astrology?
Jemima could be another fun episode, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she has like 10,000 children.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, I think she has like
That's
7
awesome.
kids. Maybe I'm making that up. Hold on. Let me check. Jemima.
I like the myth
Kirk.
of it.
Children. She has... Oh, only 2? Okay, crazy. Anyway, continue. For some reason, I thought she had so many children.
I could see it.
Okay. In my head, there's a picture of her with like on a lawn in summer, and she has like a bunch of kids around her, but maybe those
she has
were
nieces
not
and
her
nephews.
Kids.
So Lena was born on May 13th, 1986 in New York. Again, we don't know what time. Although we do know that she was born, I think, on the same day as Robert Pattinson, which is cool to me. And she has a Taurus sun and a Cancer moon. So this is like creative and sensual and sensory. Like, I mean, I can just imagine like some of the materials she was wearing. I was like, that doesn't look comfortable at all, like make you sort of feel what she's putting out there. She's really also acutely aware of security with a Taurus sun. And her Taurus sun's ruled by Gemini Venus, which is conjunct Chiron and opposite Uranus. So this is divisive. Venus opposite Uranus is like shock value. And then Venus in Gemini opposite Uranus and Sagittarius is hilarious. It's a creative genius type, but also very polarizing.
Which she definitely is.
Yeah. And she has her Mercury in Taurus and Venus and Gemini are in mutual reception, which means that they rule each other. And so this is like a creative powerhouse. I think Mercury and Taurus really changes the expression of Venus and Gemini and vice versa. Even though these signs are right next to each other, they're different. Like one of my best friends growing up, is a Taurus. You know her. You went to college with her, Christina. And she and I are just so different, but we're born like 5 days apart. But yeah, it's a creative expression. She's also really able to ground her perceptions and make money off of them with that Taurus influence. And Mercury and Taurus can like speak to matters of security. Venus and Gemini is funny and insightful and like really able to articulate both sides. So she can see something. And we're in such an era of not everyone, but like a lot of judgment of like art is like whether or not you agree with the message. And that's not how she put things out, right? She could like make things that she didn't agree with, but they were like, funny or interesting. And then she has Mercury opposite Pluto. So this is, again, more polarizing viewpoints. Also, her power pisses people off. So that's something that she has to contend with her whole life. And I think she said as much that she's like, I've always been annoying. That's probably part of it. Also, like Venus opposite Uranus. These are just, she has these like Uranus and Pluto. These are generational planets and they're opposing her personal planet. So she's not only able to penetrate the zeitgeist, but also like people have so many opinions about her. And then she was born in the 1986 Power Year, which is, I mean, I'm sure maybe there's scholarship on this. I'm not so sure, but this is like, we come back around to this year so much because there are so many celebrities from this era. Mostly it's like child stars like Amanda Bynes, Mary-Kate and Ashley, Shia LaBeouf. But then also Gaga was born this year and Lena Dunham. And then a few other celebrities, one who I can't remember right now. Oh my God, Lily. What's that woman's name? Lily. She was like opposite Leonardo DiCaprio in that Flowers of the Power Moon or whatever. Something of the Flower Moon.
I do not know.
Okay. Well, but they're both born out. They're born outside this like Mars retrograde in a Capricorn. And so Mars stationed retrograde 26 days after she was born in Capricorn. And age 26 would have been when that happened in her progress chart. So, and that was also when she was like in the thick of GURLS, probably like really in the thick of controversy and in the thick of like being really scrutinized, because it must have been like season 2 or 3. And so that was definitely tough for her. But yeah, this like 1986, like this is just a year for like really creative geniuses to be born, or people who give to the world a lot, I guess, in my opinion.
That makes a lot of sense. And I would love to know what her rising for real is, but she has a chart where, to me, when I look at it, it's so obvious because, you know, Venus is love and values, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say gifts, but like you're just like good at it. So her having Venus in Gemini, you know, she's able to like talk, and she is very charismatic. Even though people think she's annoying, she does have like a gift of like talking, but it's also kind of close to Chiron. So it's like her talking gets her into trouble sometimes because she just says like dumb shit.
She also has Saturn opposite Venus by sign, so it's also like getting into trouble with like authorities or, you know, people just not really wanting you to keep talking. Being like, shut up.
And then Mercury too is like communication, writing, and that being in Taurus next to her sun. Like everything for the most part that she's writing is about herself or based on herself. You know, she writes memoirs. GURLS was based on her. Tiny Furniture was based on her. And then also she has her moon, which is her body, also her emotions, but that's in her third house of communication. But it's also like we're talking about her body all the time.
Sure. Yeah. We're using solar houses, by the way. But yeah, and also that's opposite Mars and Neptune. So Neptune's the creative part. Mars is also like polar, like she has oppositions with these soft planets opposing these like harder, more malefic or generational planets. And so again, just polarizing. She can't make everyone happy, but she continues to make stuff.
And she is like very, like she is powerful. Like she has a production company. She's behind the scenes a lot now. So, and she comes from I would say, not a powerful family, but her parents are artists that people in the New York art scene knew.
Right.
So she was able to leverage that too, as we'll learn. Submit her films to film festivals, go to fancy liberal art schools, stuff like that. So, and we'll get into that right now. Growing up, teen Lena was winning awards for her writing. She goes to Oberlin College and studies creative writing there. So when I was researching this, and I think just how she talks, like listening to her podcast, I just get Gemini. I knew she had something Gemini, like she is so Gemini to me.
She really is.
But she also produced several independent short films. She would upload them to YouTube back when YouTube was just like,
that's how I watched Tiny Furniture. It was on YouTube, and now it's on like HBO.
Yeah. And one of her videos went viral because she was brushing her teeth in a bikini in a fountain, and people just freaked out. Like, why is this kind of chubby girl in a bikini, you know? So everybody's just talking about her body again and her willingness to show it off, which is like a theme throughout.
I love the
career.
episode when they're in like I don't know if it's the Hamptons, and she's just
When
walking
she's
around in
wearing
the teal American Apparel bikini the whole time.
And it's like, again, it's like
so
a
much.
size or two, like too small for her body.
Yeah.
And Elijah and the other gay guys like make fun of her,
they're
and then they
Spring
realize
Breakers.
it's her.
They say, look at Spring Breakers, and she turns around and he's like, oh my God.
But she graduates in 2008 with a degree in creative writing. After college, she creates this web series called Delusional Downtown Divas, which was a satirical depiction of the New York art scene. But her really big career breakthrough comes with this semi-autobiographical 2010 film, Tiny Furniture, which won the Best Narrative Feature at South by Southwest and was also screened at a bunch of different movie festivals. So this like really propelled her into slowly becoming a star. So what was going on when Tiny Furniture came out?
So this was March 15th, 2010 in Austin, Texas, and it was a new moon in Pisces. So the sun and moon are in Pisces. This is creative. It's dreamy. A new moon, it's conjunct its ruler, Jupiter. Jupiter rules Pisces. And so this is the planet of opportunity. So again, it's a new moon. We're turning a new page, new opportunities. This new moon's also conjunct Mercury, the planet of conversation and articulation. And it's a new moon conjunct Uranus as well. So this is like the outer planet that has to do with like a stroke of genius, like some sort of earthquake talent. Really overnight celebrity, which a lot of times I think when people are like, this person's an overnight celebrity, it's like, well, actually they've been working at it for like a decade, you know, but they just got really, they just go from like 0 to 100 really quick on the popularity scale, but it's not like they were doing nothing a month ago. And it seems like she was doing the same thing her whole life, but she was very famous, very young, and she was able to profit off of it. And then Mars in Leo is sextiling Saturn in Libra. So this is a malefic sextile. Mars and Saturn are the two malefic planets, which means that they push things along. And sextiles are aspects that represent an opportunity to be seized. So this is like something that opens to praise and only gets better, more respected, or more famous over time. And then if we look at these transits outside of her chart, the new moon in Pisces that was conjunct Jupiter, Mercury, and Uranus is conjunct her natal Jupiter because she is Jupiter in Pisces. So it's a great time to receive and seize opportunities, especially related to art since it's in Pisces. And then again, using solar houses, which is putting the sun in the first house, this puts Jupiter in the 11th house of audience. So this new moon in her 11th house of audience. And then, right? And it's like super packed. So then North Node is conjunct her natal Mars in Capricorn. This is sort of like the Willy Wonka elevator going up, which is that I think she's, for how much she puts out there, she's also has like a really good sense of restraint, which is so Mars in Capricorn, and able to make things that last. I mean, again, I could be a propagandist for her in terms of how much I like her, but I really do think she had a really good sense of pulling back. Like there'd be a vignette episode after a really fun episode, you know? Even just one example. And then Pluto, the power planet, was conjunct her natal Neptune. And this is the planet of creativity and like saturation. So this is, again, her being the voice of a generation or a voice of a generation. And these are just generational planets, literally. And Capricorn is such a millennial sign. I mean, we have like
a million outer planets. Yeah.
We're not like, I don't know, Cheney, which is for some reason the most powerful person I can think of. Like someone who's really powerful, maybe behind the scenes, but it's like people who've been, you know, the girl boss generation, so to speak.
I feel like that's why early millennials in especially like the 2010s were so like hustle culture.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, if you look at I remember the offices, like someone posted them on Twitter once and it was just like 6 offices that had like, you know, those break rooms that were like bean bags or it'd be like, we can do whatever we want. And it was like, this is going to be so funny in like a decade. And it was, I mean, funny at the time because it was just like, it's like perverse.
Yeah. Well, it's also funny because we were like, we'll sleep at work. Yeah, we're fine working for like no money for 20 hours. Like we have beer on draft and a ping pong table. And now Gen Z's like, I just want to be an influencer.
Yeah.
You know?
Like their last chances to like be clavicular.
Yeah. Who just got a nose job.
Oh my God. Did you see people comparing him to young Sheldon?
Sad. I mean, he did look better pre-nose job, in my opinion.
I agree.
It makes him look more boyish, I think. That's why.
I mean, I think he's... I don't have like any... I'm not a fan, but I also don't hate him because I think he's probably just a sign of the times. But
I really want to do an episode on him.
That would be interesting. I hope we can.
But we need that birth chart.
Yeah, I know he's a Sagittarius, and I'm pretty sure he's born in 05, maybe 04.
Wow.
But yeah, so the South Node was conjunct her moon in Cancer. So the nodes are eclipse points, and that's related to fate. So she's exposing her emotions, and she's not for everyone, but she also is, in a way. I mean, she's not for everyone, but the way she articulates things is sort of transgenerational.
I think, especially when we go into GURLS, like, even though the joke at the beginning of GURLS is she says, I believe I'm the voice of my generation, she honestly kind of did become that with GURLS.
Yeah.
Ooh. So with the success of her film Tiny Furniture, I didn't even know this was possible, but basically HBO came to her and said, hey, we think you're great. We'll give you a bunch of money. We'll give you a deal. Write whatever you want to write. And she was like, okay, chic. And the network set her up with a veteran showrunner named Jennifer Konner, aka Jenni Konner. So Jenny's job was just to like keep her in line and make sure, you know, she was making a good show. Then also at this time, people started to talk about Lena too, because she was profiled in the New York Times. And Judd Apatow, who is a famous comedic director and producer in Hollywood, he was then introduced to her like through this article. And he watched Tiny Furniture and was like, oh my God, I love this. He was very surprised that she wrote and directed it.
I feel like it's important to let people know, like younger people maybe who didn't know Judd Apatow before he tweeted that Will Smith could have killed Chris Rock.
Wait, he said that?
Yeah, after the slap, he was like, he could have killed him. And it was like, no. Like, it was absurd, but it's not.
Chris Rock is like kind of a tiny man, I guess. But you can't die from a slap.
Yeah, he's become sort of like this like sensei, I don't know, older guy, but he used to be like much more prolific in the 2010s. Ever since what was that? Knocked Up.
Yeah, like Knocked Up, I Love You Man, This Is 40. Like he had so many films that he was the director and producer of. So he was a big deal, especially at this time when Lena was developing GURLS. So he ended up emailing Lena and being like, oh my God, I think Tiny Furniture is great. And I guess they talked and he realized she was developing the show for HBO. She was working with Jenni Konner, who he had worked with previously and really liked. So Lena asked him like, oh, do you want to be involved? And he was like, yes. So that's how he kind of got in, which I feel like all of this, again, is very like that North Node Mars conjunction, because it's like all of this stuff just kind of like lines up for her very, very quickly.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, her story, this trajectory, I think I have it in here somewhere. Like, it's so nodal. There's so much nodal stuff going on, which I think actually, like, we're in such like a post-Freakonomics world where it's like you should be in the right place at the right time. But like maybe... I think that's what Freakonomics was. I like literally don't even know. I definitely don't read
Freakonomics was like was like the odds of you drowning are like more likely than you getting shot by having a gun in your home. It was a book that was like these like weird facts like that.
Oh, so they probably invented like circular statistics where it's like, what are we even talking about?
Yeah, where then like you're like, what is like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But...
Okay, so it turns out I don't know what Freakonomics is, but in terms of her
like algorithm, like just launching you kind of
right,
thing.
Yeah, like she really like the nodes lined up in a way where she is always going to be big. Really, I think she's had highs and lows. I just mean people can be like, well, she's a nepo baby, and that's true, but she has a talent to match, and it's just sort of like she did have the ways in, but she had the node sort of guiding the trip in a way,
Yeah, it was like, what is that quote? That's like, success is when
opportunity
preparation meets yeah.
Like that.
I think because she is a good writer, so like when she got the chance,
and
she
her
did
openness
what she had to do.
Must make her so like, yeah, I'll just seize that opportunity. I mean, and of course we could broaden it to like a class thing where people who grow up with opportunities are maybe more likely to seize them. But just in general, like she's open again to portraying herself in insane ways. So she's open probably to ideas and opportunities as well.
Well, whatever it was, she wrote that show that became Girls. And if you've never watched it before, it's a series that follows Hannah Horvath, who's played by Lena. And Hannah's this 20-something post-college grad who wants to be a writer. She's struggling to make it in New York. And it's like her and a few of her friends. And you just kind of see them live their lives and all the uncomfortable, weird things that happen to you. And the fun things when you're like in your early 20s trying to figure out how to become an adult. And a lot of the stories are inspired by things that happened to Lena.
Oh.
So
she really articulated a downwardly mobile society in such a good way.
Yeah, like the guy who Adam Driver played, Adam, is based on like a guy she was dating and had that like kind of relationship with. So what was going on when Girls premiered?
This was April 12th, 2012 at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So we use it for New York, and it has an Aries sun, an Aquarius moon, a Sagittarius rising, which I think is perfect. Just so perfect for the debut of the show, but also just like what it was. Aries sun is the baby. It's breaking into the world. It's fearless. Aquarius moon is for the people. It's exposing uncomfortable truths. Also, the moon's a conjunct America's moon. So it's also speaking to what America was like at that time. I didn't even realize that before, but yeah, really able to reflect the American culture of 2010s. And just like exposing uncomfortable truths hilariously, because Aquarius moon, it's a Saturnian moon, so it's not comfortable, and it's also able to like reach a lot of people. And then Sagittarius rising is popular and rides the wave of opportunity. The sun and Saturn are in exact opposition. So in general, this aspect is like the archetypal son versus father configuration, which is sort of what it was. Like, it's also like modernity versus tradition. What is versus what was, right? Like, we can pretend that things are a certain way, but it's like, that's not how they are anymore. And then the sun's exalted in Aries and Saturn's exalted in Libra. So this opposition is also between two planets that are each very good at playing their role. I mean, the sun opposite Saturn's also, I would say, like, good for thinking about stories in terms of the hero's journey. But it's a show about enduring relationships, which is Libra, and then narcissism, which is the sun in Aries. So it's sort of like, you know, like, and there's that one, like I remember one of my favorite episodes when she and Marnie go to like a lake house or whatever, they get like an Airbnb with Desi and he brings his like jar of pills and they lock him in a room or something, but Marnie's like, how did I not know? And she's like, you're really not good at telling when other people are on drugs. But then she's like, it's really hard to see what's going on with other people when you're only thinking about yourself. And she's like, I would know. Yeah. Like, it's such a good moment of like relationship and introspection, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the problem with narcissism is when people refuse to acknowledge it about themselves, mostly.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of narcissists like can't.
Yeah, that's like
part of it.
If it's like the DSM, like actual disorder.
Yeah, the actual one.
Right.
My also favorite part of that scene with Desi, when he like has like a jar of OxyContin and breaks.
It's a mason jar too. So perfect.
He smashes through the window like with his fist. And then they have to find him outside, like sitting by like a pile of wood. And then she has to like take a rag and like wrap up his hand because he's just sitting there bleeding.
And he like snorts like glass.
I know.
So she also does a really good job of talking about the opioid epidemic in a way that's like unreal funny. Okay, so let's look at this chart outside of her birth chart. The transits. Jupiter was in Taurus, conjunct her natal Mercury and Sun. Jupiter is opportunity. Mercury is communication. The Sun is celebrity and spotlight. And Taurus is, rich. So she gets money fast. And I mean, it's HBO. So it also speaks to the budget of the show. And then the Sun is conjunct her natal North node again. So this whole trajectory is nodal. Like the nodes are eclipses of fate. The Sun is the spotlight. This is like her getting her moment in the Sun. The Sun crosses your North Node every year, but the North Node crosses your Sun every 18 years. And then Venus is conjunct her natal Chiron. So this is art about pain. Venus is art, Chiron's a wound. And it's like, she's really looking at it like all the time. And then it's also her Venus return. So she's showing her art. It's a manifestation of projects she's really been working on and proud of. And it's in Gemini, so it's like one that generates conversations. And then the North Node was conjunct her natal Saturn in Sagittarius, which again is something that only happens every 18 years. So it's built to last. Saturn's a planet of what lasts, like what endures time. And in Sagittarius, it's also always funny. Like, I think no matter like, I think you could watch it at like any age and enjoy it, in my opinion.
It's very coming of age.
Yeah.
And I mean, when it initially came out, it was super popular. It received a lot of critical acclaim. The first season got a bunch of Emmy nominations. They won 2 Golden Globes. Lena even became the first woman to win a Directors Guild of America award.
Incredible.
Yeah, for outstanding directing in a comedy series. This show also kickstarted the career of Adam Driver, who now is like famous Star Wars guy. It would go on to have 6 seasons and really put Lena into culture, really give her notoriety, both good and bad. And throughout all of this, one of her main collaborators was Jenni Konner, the showrunner. And they became very close, both professionally and personally. They were kind of almost like toxic best friends. They were just like very together at all times. Lena even said she was the love of her life at a time, not in a romantic love way, but they were just so close, like did everything together, creative partners. So besides working on GURLS, they had this Letty Letter, which was a feminist online newsletter. They also would start their own joint production company called A Casual Romance Productions. They would write and showrun together other HBO show called Camping. But unfortunately, following their time on GURLS, the two went their separate ways to pursue individual projects, and their friendship kind of fell apart. And at the time, there were all these like rumors that they had a falling out. And in Lena's new memoir that we'll talk about, she definitely shed some light on the situation and says that Lena at the time was like struggling a lot with like her health and her hysterectomy, and she was in rehab. So it was just like a lot for their relationship. And I listened to Fame Sick, and I have to say, like, I had empathy for Lena and like all of her health situations and what was going on in her life. But I could imagine as Jenni just dealing with someone who's like constantly being sick, but also at the same time, like still showing up for work. And it's like, Lena's gone for however long. Then she comes back. Then immediately she comes back on set and like trips and somehow breaks her elbow. So then she has to like leave.
Hey, it happens to people.
But it's like, you know, it's like one thing after another. And obviously like Lena just is annoying. Like just that's how she is. So it's like, oh my God, you know, she was complaining so much about everything. Like if you've ever seen GURLS, you understand how Hannah is. And it's like, that is Lena. So,
sure.
But despite all that and they're falling out, and they like literally don't talk to each other anymore. But Lena has always said that she deeply respects and cares for Jenni, and she still supports her work. Like recently she went off in a good way about Jenni's series, Nobody Wants This. So
I didn't know that was her. I haven't watched it.
I didn't really watch it either, but I heard about it.
Yeah, everyone I know tells me to watch it.
But let's look at their synastry, like Jenni and Lena.
Okay, so somehow Jenni Konner's, maybe I'm just living in my own bubble, but somehow her birth information is available. She was born on...
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah, May 15th, 1971 at 5 p.m. in New York. And she has a Taurus sun, a Capricorn moon, and a Libra rising. So this
Libra rising.
Yeah, a wealthy big three, I would say. Libra rising's excellent at relationships, maintaining them. So yeah, like Sarah said, if the Libra rising sort of not being able to tolerate you, it could get tough. Although her Venus is in Aries, which is another story for another day. But her Taurus sun and Capricorn moon, these are both earth signs. They build profitable businesses. Their projects stand the test of time. Also, her sun being the same element as her moon it's just good for grounding. However, the moon in Capricorn's in detriment. And that's because it can be uncomfortable. So she can speak to what's uncomfortable. She can, see where it's like where the youth might be left out in the cold by their parents sometimes, or expected to do things without being taught how to do them. And then the Taurus sun's all about comfort. So when something's all about comfort, it's also all about discomfort in terms of articulating that. And then looking at their synastry, Lena's Mars and Capricorn is conjunct Jenni's IC and Moon. So the IC is a really personal point of the chart. It's the root of the chart. And then the Moon is feelings, emotions. It's what you need. And so this is understanding Jenni. And that's like Lena's maybe superpower. But Lena's Mars could also be antagonizing in that way. And then their suns are conjunct. They're born 2 days apart. I mean, years apart, but 2 days. May 13th and May 15th. So they're both getting rich and famous together at the same time. GURLS launched when Jupiter was in Taurus, and they both hit it big. It makes sense that they were getting this opportunity at that time and that they were doing it together. But they also understand things, like they behave in a similar way, which makes it good for, you know, like maybe they felt the exact same way about getting famous. Like, I mean, Lena was going through something that like that Jenni probably couldn't have understood because she wasn't the star of the show, but like they could understand some things together, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And Lena's North Node's in Aries. It's conjunct Jenni's Mercury and Venus. So Mercury is communication. Venus is love. This is having like a non-romantic or a casual romance. You know, it's non-romantic, but, you know, love of my life relationship. It's gravity with the node. There's a fated relationship. Also, the node is obsession. So there could be this unhealthy sort of toxic dynamic. But they can also push each other creatively, and they go to the top together, so to speak. And Lena really helps Jenni blossom, but it's a mutually beneficial relationship for sure. Until I guess, you know, it isn't. Their moons are also opposite. So I could see Lena being like, I need these things because she knows what she needs with the moon in Cancer. And then Jenni's moon in Capricorn is like, you don't need anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I can't take it anymore.
Suck it up.
Yeah. Like, stop. But yeah. And then also Jenni's Saturn is in Taurus and it's conjunct Lena's Sun. So that's also something that lasts, but then at a certain point, something that pushes her away.
And also gives that dynamic of like I don't want to say like veteran, I guess, but it's like Jenni is older than Lena. Jenni had more experience like working in the industry than, mentor vibes. That's what the word I was looking for. So after GURLS ends and Jenni and Lena go their separate ways, Lena goes on to write, direct, and produce feature films and series. And she also appears in the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I honestly love that film. And fun fact,
her role in that is so funny.
Yeah. Well, also Margaret Qualley's in it, who she became, I wouldn't say friends with, but they knew each other. So that's why when Lena would eventually find out that Jack was dating Margaret, she got like very upset.
Eskimo sisters.
I know. So she also would go on to have a podcast that I really like that's now available everywhere. #blessed. Yeah, because Pineapple Street Media went under.
Cool.
So, or got folded into something. Yeah, like, cool. But the podcast is called The C Word, and it's with her and a writer, teacher, former model named Alyssa Bennett. And they have this podcast called The C Word where they do deep dives into women throughout history that society deemed crazy. That's why it's called The C Word. The C Word is crazy.
We interacted with Jenni or with Alyssa Bennett on Twitter once. This was such a loser thing to say. But she said something about like Virgos, because I think she's a Virgo. It was something about how she didn't feel together enough to be a Virgo. And I just responded like, that's such a Virgo thing to say. And she was like,
oh my God. Well, because she talks about, because I've listened to so many episodes, just the fact, well, one, she's a writer, which to me is like, you're ruled by Mercury, you're good with words, Virgo girl.
Yeah.
But I think she talks about how, in terms of like her apartment, because she has a kid, she works during the day, then she writes at night. I think it's one of those things where like her apartment isn't together. Like it's not perfectly neat and stuff like that.
Sure. Okay. Which is also, Virgos aren't always, I feel like Virgo might be more likely to compulsively organize than they are to necessarily always be neat, if that makes sense. At least Virgo suns.
I mean, a 12th house Virgo, and I like literally am only at peace.
Yeah.
When I have like everything arranged in.
I know, when we lived together, you would be we would both be so hungover, and you would be like moving things around, and I'd be like, how is she moving? Like moving her body even. I would be,
it's like how I feel
floundering
better.
on the couch, yeah.
I know. It's just
holding Kyle.
Yeah, I know. It's deeply ingrained in my psyche.
It's great.
So she has that podcast. She also launches her own production company called Good Thing Going. And then besides being a writer, another thing that has really categorized her life was her public health struggle. And she was diagnosed with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, when she was a child. That's also a storyline in GURLS, like when she like has
All
to
season 2.
Yeah, like keeps like sticking
With the
Q-tips and shit in her ears. And she was taking Klonopin for a while for her anxiety. Eventually, she got addicted to benzos and she had to go to rehab for that, which she, came out on the other end. She said she had a great experience.
I remember learning that years ago. And I feel like she shined a light on how benzo withdrawal is like, it rivals opioid withdrawal in terms of how desperate and painful it is.
Well, also, that's a scene in Kat Marnell's book, How to Murder Your Life, when she goes to one of her rehabs. There's a guy who's screaming the whole time. And she's like, is he coming off heroin? And they're like, no, benzos. And she's like, oh, that's like no joke. But Lena also would eventually have a hysterectomy because she had endometriosis. And then it would later come out, she would reveal that she has this syndrome where basically it's like a connective tissue disorder. And it causes all these different things like loose joints, joint pain, like weird skin, abnormal scar formation, but it's also chronic pain. And through her life, she's always dealt with chronic pain. So while she was battling all of this health stuff and she was writing GURLS, she also happened to be dating a musician named Jack Antonoff, who at the time was the lead guitarist of the band Fun, who, if you were a millennial, yes, everybody knows We Are Young.
That reminds me so much of Butch McGuire's, which is funny.
Literally the time of our biggest blackout summer was like that song was blaring and you would just be like, oh my God, we are young. We need to make the most of this.
So dumb.
We need to take Adderall at 2 a.m. to extend the night as much as we can. But I loved it. But so he was a lead guitarist in the band Fun. He also has a band now called Bleachers. And he, at this point now, he's kind of like the pop princess producer. Like he works a lot with Taylor Swift. He works a lot with Lorde and Lana and Sabrina Carpenter and St. Vincent. And at this time, Lena and Jack were this high profile indie cool couple that were early on in their careers, but clearly were going somewhere. And they ended up dating for 6 years from 2012 to 2017. But they broke up and everybody kind of wondered for a while why. And then it came out that, again, due to her health struggles and just like her general aura of being annoying, like that affected their relationship. It also didn't help that Jack would bring like these hot pop stars into their apartment and work with them all the time, which made Lena feel super self-conscious.
Oh.
And specifically Lorde, there's always been rumors that Jack and Lorde had some sort of relationship and he probably cheated on Lena with her. The book doesn't really confirm it, but it definitely seems that like Lorde and Jack had something going on, like some sort of situation. But also Lena did admit that she cheated on Jack before they broke up. It was just like, it was like an ex-boyfriend from like her childhood. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. But since breaking up, they married other people. Lena's married to Louis Felber, who's a musician. Jack is married to Margaret Qualley, which is another actress who is in one of my favorite movies, The Substance. I love her. So what is Jack and Lena's synastry like?
Okay, Jack was born on March 31st, 1984 at 5:55 a.m. He's such an angel numbers girly, in Bergenfield, New Jersey, and he has an Aries sun and rising and a Pisces moon, so this is good for a breakout artist. Also, his moon's at the final degree of the zodiac. It's at 29 degrees Pisces, and so this is able to reach many via creativity. It's also that like dreamy sound that he is, so
he loves the synth.
Yeah. Famous for.
But also he is such a musician. Like on Taylor Swift's newest song, that was the Toy Story song, he plays every instrument that's featured in the song.
That's interesting. I guess I never think of how music is produced, but it like he had to record himself doing one, and then he had to record himself doing the other.
Yeah. Like there's a meme that went viral where like, because a little lore, Taylor and Jack always worked on everything for her last few albums, at least one song on the album. But on her newest one, Life of a Showgirl, he wasn't on it at all. And so people were like, oh my God, are they not friends anymore? But it was like, no, she was just in a love fever dream and wanted to make straight pop hits with no synth. So she went to these Swedish producers that she worked with before. Anyway, when she worked with him on Toy Story, she made it a point to say it was her and Jack when she announced the song. So then everybody was like, yes. And then it says the listing of who did what on the song. And it's literally like every instrument is him. And somebody was like, did she just lock him in the studio? Like,
it's funny.
Yeah. I digress.
So in terms of their synastry, Lena's north node is in Aries. It's conjunct Jack's Mercury in his first house, so she can really see him. She also helps him find his voice, and he grows from being with her. The north node expands. It makes things swell. And Mercury is reaching out to the people. It's also him being able to connect with others in his first house. And then Lena's moon in Cancer is conjunct Jack's IC, so she's especially sensitive to him. Remember, I said the IC is the root of the chart. It's like how you are when you're alone with yourself. You know, they can be alone together. She's intuitive with regards to his needs. And then Lena's Chiron is conjunct Jack's north node in Gemini. So this is like the wounds left over after the relationship ends. Something that happens with Gemini Venus is that it feels like the runner-up, or like Venus retrograde in Gemini. Those times could be getting a follow-up interview with a job you wanted only after the first person they offered it, you got a better job, or like died. I mean, there are other options as well, but just like it could be like runner-up energy. So she could feel really insecure about that. And with the north node there, this relationship could have really brought that out in her. And then Lena's Mars was conjunct Jack's Jupiter in Capricorn. So Jupiter is in fall in Capricorn. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. She has the upper hand in this configuration. But I mean, he has Jupiter on his midheaven. Jupiter on the midheaven, no matter what, is Jupiter on the midheaven. So he's big and famous. And also he's like, it's such a Capricorn, such producer energy, right? He's like behind the scenes making these songs instead of like, singing all of them. But yeah, this is for what it was and when it was good. Mars conjunct Jupiter would be definitely great for physical attraction, and Jupiter could appeal to her Mars, right? So if she's sort of closed off or like regimented, he could soften her, make her do things maybe she wasn't so sure about. But yeah, she was famous before him, and so that also relates to that.
Cute. Well, throughout Lena's career, she has faced a lot of backlash due to her body and how she shows it off, due to, again, her being just kind of inherently annoying. But a lot of it, too, comes from her saying things, again, that like Chiron and Gemini, like her saying these things that people take as being super insensitive. So once, like she said, she never had an abortion, but wish she had. So... And everybody was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's such a.
And she's like, to better understand women who experienced it, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, Lena!" And then, in her first memoir, she tells some stories about her and her then sister, who is now her brother, but at the time, people accused her of having molested her sibling.
She was like 7 in the story, though, wasn't she?
Yeah, they were both like super little.
Yeah.
And then people also said that the girls cast was too white. And she was like, well, this is based on like my life, so I'm not going to like randomly like write a character in that I like don't know.
That's why she
about.
Sort of responded to that by like Childish Gambino's like short arc in the second season.
And then everyone was like, you just added him to have like a token black person because everybody's saying that this show's too white.
And it's also sort of like what his role kind of was. Like,
I think he even says he is the token black person.
Yeah.
So besides all of that, another thing that happened was her and Jenni stood up for a girls writer who an actress had accused of sexual assault. So everybody was mad about that.
I don't have any comments about that.
Yeah, but now Now, these days, Lena is back in culture thanks to her new memoir, Fame Sick, which chronicles her rise to fame with the HBO series Girls, her struggles with chronic illnesses, her addiction, and just kind of like the path to becoming a celebrity. She talks about what happens with Jack. So again, that like Lord, she never says who it is, but everybody knows it's Lord. So just like that weirdness. She also talks a lot about Adam Driver and how he's such a, just a strange little guy. Like, it does seem like they had like this weird sexual tension between them. And that he also got mad at her once for not being able to deliver her lines. So he threw a chair at the wall.
So he's like kind of is Adam in some ways.
Yeah, I think he definitely fulfills the character. But when it was released, I feel like it was everywhere. It topped the New York Times bestseller list. So what was happening when Fame Sick was released?
Okay, this was April 14th, 2026, and the sun was in Aries, the moon was in Pisces. So another thing we learned throughout this episode is that she really excels at releasing during Aries season, and I could very much see her being an Aries rising or midheaven.
Interesting, yeah. That would make a lot of sense.
Right, wouldn't it? And it's right before a new moon, so it's a dark moon. So she's also like releasing these dark, not necessarily dark thoughts, but like secrets, things that weren't previously known.
So you think, so she would be like a Cancer rising?
I could see her being a Cancer rising with her moon in the first house. I could also see her being an Aries rising with her Mars and Capricorn on her midheaven.
Yeah. I feel like it would make a lot of sense if she was, that for all like the transiting things, Aries for sure, but then also Cancer, like she is so known for like showing her body and
for sure.
Like that.
And like her the chronic illnesses she's battled, like addiction,
chronic
all these like
illness,
body things. Body horror, really.
Yeah.
So the Sun and Chiron were conjunct her natal North Node in Aries. So North Node, it's an eclipse point again. It's related to fate, often sudden shifts in life. And the North Node's also related to obsession. The Sun's a spotlight and Chiron is the wound. So this super reflects releasing a tell-all memoir about uncomfortable topics. And also in Aries, it's like this is her story. So she's telling a lot of things about other people, but she's telling them as she saw them, as they happened to her in her mind, right? And there's mutual activation of the moon and Jupiter. So the transiting moon in Pisces is conjunct her natal Jupiter. The transiting Jupiter is conjunct her natal moon in Cancer. So moon and Jupiter energy is prevalent throughout. Jupiter is opportunity, it's praise, moon is feelings, and it's like the moment, like what time is it? The moon is the fastest moving planet, so it's sort of like the hands on the clock. And I'm assuming that this book was well received. I watched part of a New York Times interview with her about it, and I liked it. It was long, and I fell asleep or something. But also, like, I think with this moon in Jupiter and in Pisces and Cancer and water signs and sensitive signs, it's people are like finally more likely to empathize with her where maybe they've been cruel in the past, or like, she gets sort of like people were really sort of sinister and like online abuse she received.
Yeah.
And then Uranus and Venus are in Taurus with her sun. So Uranus is breaking news, it's shocking info, sun is celebrity and spotlight, Venus rules Taurus. So again, it's her telling her story as it's hers. She's owning it. Venus is the art, and it's with her Mercury too. So she's putting this book out there and it's like, well, that's out there now. Can't take it back.
So besides this book, do you have any predictions for her?
Nothing super clear. So again, we don't know her birth time, so I couldn't do an exact solar return chart, but I did a loose solar return chart, and she just turned 40. Happy birthday. 40 is a fifth house year, and the fifth house is the house of passion projects. Her fifth house from her sun is Virgo, which is writing. Her fifth house from her moon is Scorpio, which could reflect the memoir and telling these secrets, unearthing these stories. And then there's a Sun Mercury conjunction on her birthday. So again, this could really speak to writing more projects. And then it's her Venus return. So maybe there's something in she already did Too Much, and I really enjoyed Too Much. I know not all my friends did. Did you watch it?
No.
I liked it, but some of our friends had told me that it just wasn't really for them. But yeah, okay. So definitely passion projects. If she adopts a child, maybe it would be this year.
Oh, yeah.
And also Mars and Chiron are on her natal North Node. So some of these things are difficult to necessarily know because even though the book was released before her 40th birthday, the solar return can be in effect slightly before. So it could reflect that she has just put all this out there and now she's starting anew. Chiron being wounds, the North Node being about fate, and Mars being about pushing through, birthing out this new story. But yeah, in general, I really hope that she writes more stuff.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I honestly just opened Reddit and this person was just like saying how they love girls but hated too much. So good to know. But yeah, hopefully I feel like right now she's like back in culture. I would love to see her like pivot this into something.
I would like to know about Gen Z, like if she became a Jenni Konner for some sort of Gen Z girl, you know, I would be interested in that type of thing.
But that is Lena, so hopefully we did her justice. Would love that birth time. Would love to know what you all think. Aries rising, Cancer rising, or perhaps something else. We're not sure. Also, if you know her and want to like betray her confidence and send us her birth time, that would also be great. Yeah, or ask her instead of digging through her private papers. But that's where we'll end for today. So until next time, I'm Sarah.
I'm Dana.
And this is Allegedly Astrology.
Goodbye.
Bye.